This is the transit van I have bought. Not too old, 80,000 miles. Just need to convert it so I can live for free everywhere. And inside it's pretty filthy. So just gotta give it a really good clean up. I've taken off all the wooden paneling from the ceilings, floors and walls. Skin out all these bolted attachments. It's pretty hard to get out. So I have taken out the bulkhead from the front, which kind of really opens up the front. I'm going to have a divider here anyway, but it will make things a little bit nicer. I've cut the window out and I've run a fire around the edges, take off the sharp bits. But on this van there's these kind of flute sections, so it's taken a pair of mole grips and with a piece of wood behind it to support it. I'm just kind of closing them up, take away the gap. We've got the window in. I'm just letting it cure with tape and some bits of wood underneath just to hold it in place. I'm putting in batons and they sit within these runnels in the van, and then it's 2.5 centimeters, which makes it perfect to put in the insulation, and I'll put the ply in on top. So put it in the insulation. Day 2, and I've been putting in the conduit. This will all be for my wiring. Got wiring for back LEDs, front LEDs, more LEDs, extractor fan, and 2 more LEDs. We're going to town with LEDs, and also going to have these side lights LEDs. So I've got another conduit coming all the way around the side. I have also put on the solar panel. I made like a hinging bracket, which is attached by one bolt and the other one's a hinge, and that means that I can essentially lift the solar panel up only one way if I need to, if maybe in winter it's not getting enough light, but hopefully it's tight enough to the roof. And underneath you might just be able to see I put some rubber tap washers just to kind of make it a little bit more deadened with movement and things. On the other end of the solar panel is just connected by one bolt, so if I undo that bolt then I can lift this whole solar panel up. This is one of the things I was kind of worried about. It's a bit of an effort to do, but it took the best part of half a day to engineer these brackets, and yeah, got them on with a bit of help from my mum. So I got 15 meters of 1.5mm square wire, and I'm going to use this for all of my smaller stuff like the LEDs and the extractor fan. I'm going to start pulling it through and labelling the wires so I can remember what they are later when I come to wire it up to the battery and all the other circuitry. Glue gun's an easy way to keep the conduit in place. This conduit is amazing. You shove the wire in and it comes out the other end. I don't know that's what it's meant to do, but there it is. Just came out the other end. What a beaut. So good. Now I am putting in the batons, and these are what I'm going to attach my cladding to. It's kind of difficult form because it's slightly curved. These beams are slightly tapered in. And there's some kind of parts I had to cut out. So to help it flex a little bit, put some cuts all the way along the beam, and I've bolted it in 2 places, and I'll just kind of glue and seal around it just to kind of give it additional support. I've got in the 4 batons which I put up, all bolted in. Had to make a load of shaped parts like this to fit in, and it's kind of annoying with this car because basically every single one is a different shape, different dimensions, just because of the way the vehicle's been constructed. With parts of the insulation in, I've been squirting foam gun, which is a very enjoyable activity, all around the edges, inside, filling in some of these ducting in the van. It should hopefully make it nice and warm. Most of the insulation is now in. I'll give you a top tip for when you're using expanding foam. If you're doing a 6-foot high ceiling and you're 6 foot, wear a hat. I might need to give myself a haircut a little bit later. A little bit. Ta-da! And I'll just fill it with spray foam. I feel like putting cement in. I've put this 50mm celotex insulation board up, and then I'm covering it with this foil insulation, which is technically another 4 centimeters. So by the time this van's finished, it'll be equivalent of 9 centimeters of insulation. So should be pretty good. Almost the end of day 4 now on the build, and all of the insulation is basically complete. Put this foil and then mass gaffer tape around. And this will be trapped behind stuff anyway, so it will be pretty solid in there. And I've got my holes, little flaps cut for my lights and fan. And now I can start putting in some of the block work for the base and the base of the bed and the cabinets. That'd be quite cool. Day 5. I am adding some cladding just where it can go. And I've managed to make the window just the right diameter and put a piece of wood in, and I have like a nice windowsill, and that all sort of fits flush. Got some redwood pine which will look a bit better here. Because there are some parts where I can't actually attach it to with screws because I want it to have like a flush finish, I've been using these little clips, cladding clips. They're really good because basically you can't see where I've attached it in a line here, so actually looks really clean, which is quite nice. Continuing putting on the cladding, give an example of how putting the cladding on some of the box metal work. Putting some plywood in all the way around and a support in the middle, and that means I can bridge it along with the entire cladding, and I can use those clips so it doesn't mean you get any screws on the face, so it should look quite good. Day 6, I put in a cut-off part of the old bulkhead. Gives me just a really stable thing to drill things to, and I'm going to build my own wooden bulkhead with a slider here, which will kind of cover up with an insulated screen, and on the other side it will just look like it's just old part of a builder's van, because it will have its black auto carving on it. I didn't realise that the seats would kind of project back into the van, so when I was doing my plans I didn't really account for that. Unfortunately, it's going to probably add a day, probably a build, to try and work out how to make the screen slider, and I'm going to have a shelf at the top of that now. But hopefully I'll get it done today and it will look quite good. So this is the extractor fan. I just cut a piece of wood which will fit in behind there. Looks a little rough, but when it's behind the edge it will be completely fine. These labels are a test of patience. If you go too fast, you have a sticky mess. This is the end of day 6, and I'm almost fully clad. I still need to clad those back doors, but walls done the ceiling. There's a little bit of a gap here just because of the distances and lengths and the fact I had to line stuff up to fit the fan in. But I need to get that filled, but it shouldn't be too bad, like a slither of it or something. So day 7, and I am gonna try and put in these battery containers, or like find out their position. I've drilled a hole in the floor in the most messy way possible for this power box. I'm gonna have the power box come on the underside of the vehicle just because I want the van to be much more stealthy, so it doesn't look like a camper van anywhere. And also starting to build the bed frame. So as you can see here, blocking it out, trying to make sure it's completely parallel to the other side. The van is not really straight and it curves in all directions, so it's kind of complicated to kind of make sure that it's completely perfect, but I don't want to have several different size slats as I go backwards along the bed. But otherwise, once this is blocked out, I can start the electronics, which I don't have a clue about, but I can read the internet, so it's okay. A mini tour of van being done. Gonna have a bulkhead and like a sliding screen here to kind of like cover up and insulate more. In this top corner you can actually hang a hammock across to these points in the roof. Nice big window. It's gonna be a bench at the back of it. Kitchen unit kind of here on this side, and I just put in sort of frame stuff for the bed. I've just put the bed in, and the bed's here just so I can kind of measure off it basically and make sure I've got things right. I've just put in a load of slats underneath. Eventually they'll be screwed in, and it will mean that because there's nothing between here and the back, if I want to take out these parts, then I can still use the van as like a big space. Right now I'm trying to work out the electronics. I'll just run you through it. So we have the main plug, which is going to go underneath the van into the MCU and RCD, and then this is a battery charger which goes into my 2 batteries, and from the battery you go to the inverter, and the inverter will go to the plugs. That's the only thing which will come off the inverter. And then from the solar panel on the roof will come down to the solar charge controller, which will go into the battery. And also from this we have the kind of remote monitoring thing, and from the battery will go off to this fuse box, and from the fuse box it will go away to my lights, other 12-volt applications. I'm going to have these 2 cutoff switches for the battery, one between the car battery and the kind of the split charger, and also one which will come off the kind of anything which comes out. So essentially will sit between the batteries and my fuse box, so I can just kill all the power as well. And also all the lights which will go on the roof, these LED lights, and this is like a roll of LEDs which will go in my side lights. And off the back, also from the battery, it will go to the heat source pump, or like the heater, and off the heater will go the little heat controller. So yeah, it's quite a lot, but it's not too bad. I think it's figure-outable. Yes, come on. Yes, you're on your feet. As you can see, my paneling is almost completely finished. Now I'm going to be using some sandpaper, not too heavy sandpaper, I don't know what this is, P150, and basically going to smooth it all down, and going to use some Danish oil to kind of bring out the sheen. Should look nice, and I've got to do that to the whole van. So you leave a Danish oil for 6 hours, let it set, then you do it again, and you just rub it on with a cloth. So in a day and a half it should be done, in terms of getting the cladding sorted anyway. These are my 2 leisure batteries. I've made it so that they can't move anywhere. It's quite heavy and they'll shift around the vehicle. I've kind of screwed blocks in around all the way around them. This is going to be the panel access through under the bed. I'll have this fixed up a little bit better, and that's also connecting to these 2 cutoff switches. Danish oil, now done. First coat, I'll do that 3 more times, but it's not too bad. And I've used about 2/3 of a can, so 3 cans should basically do the whole pan, so that's not bad. So evening of day 8, and I've backed on both sides of the vans. I've got these pieces of ply which will eventually be covered in a thin layer of foam and then fabric, which will go each side of the sleeping area. I'm going to try and hang them now so I can build everything else around it to make sure it fits. Got this arrived. This is the Gaslow 11 kilo bottle. It's basically refillable LPG gas, which means I can get gas anywhere in Europe, or pretty much anywhere in the world, I guess, which is good. And I'll be able to start marking out the kitchen a little bit better now. I've got that. Also my kitchen sink and gas has come. So as soon as I've finished most of the sleeping area stuff, or like blocking it out, then I can start working out on the block work of the kitchen and the chair and stuff. End of day 8. So we've got these panels up which will have the underlit LEDs. Built out some box around the battery housing. Feels like I haven't done much today, but quite a lot of planning. I know how I'm doing a lot of things, and I can start building some of these separators here, which will kind of fill in that gap, and kind of know how that's going to work. I'm just really not looking forward to having to build the covered unit. Just too much detail, too much accuracy, two things I'm not a massive fan of. So yeah, roll on day 9. Day 9, and I am making kitchen block work. Just put the block work in, and then I put panels on the back and sides, and that'll give it a lot of strength. On the front side it's going to be painted, sanded down and painted, so I'll screw it from the back, and then going to need a piece all the way along the back to block in this area behind the bulkhead. There's a sink in place. How it's going to look, it's got this like fold up lid, which is kind of cool. And underneath got the gas bottle, and there's going to be 2 jerry cans. So it's a bit of a snug fit, but it should be okay. Right now I've got stuff from an old conversion, parts from when I converted my estate car about a year ago now, and it's nice to be able to recycle it into the new van. So end of day 9 still. Yeah, kind of got a lot of block work today done, but I'm tired. Kind of doing like 12-14 hours on this, and then in the evenings kind of working to like order more materials. I'm actually pretty tired, so I think maybe tomorrow I'm gonna have a long lie-in, or maybe I'll have a day off. I'm just tired. I'm starting to get a little bit stressy about things when they're not going right, and not having patience to do things the way they should be done, so probably a good time to have a break. So for the kitchen top, I could spend a lot of money on something, or manage to find these 2 pieces of mahogany. They're slightly bowed, but if I put them both together, they should make quite a nice kitchen top. Just glue them together, sand them down a lot, and it should look pretty good. So this is the reclaimed wood. I just sanded it down, and now I'm going to clamp it up with a lot of glue. So we've got 2 parts, and become one. Be romantic. Day 10, and I've boxed in the cover units. It's been a real pain. I've done some complete screw ups here to try and make this, but I'm gonna have like 4 flaps coming across here, and that'll be like a long cupboard beside the bed. I've made this little shelf here. I've kind of cut these angles out here and sanded off the back of them to make the window profile. Otherwise it's quite difficult to do. Other than that, I've redone the roof with a Danish oil, so I can put the lights in finally, like stuff them in. And I've done some work on the kitchen sink thing, so that should be dry tomorrow. 2 parts become one. And then I can cut it out and turn it into like a sink bench with a lot of sand in. Hopefully it will look good. And tomorrow I need to buy gas stuff. I have no idea what I'm doing with gas, but I've got to connect up the bottle to the gas cooker and also the gas heater, so hopefully something will work with that. And this stupid thing here, the MPPT, which is bust. Gonna get a new one of those tomorrow, hopefully, else I'm really behind, because everything, all the electronics go through it, so until that's working, I don't know if anything works. My flooring has arrived. 2 packs of kind of like greyish oak. Some family were getting rid of this futon, which happens to be made almost 100% of foam. So I can use that in the beds, harvest some foam from it, and it'll save me having to buy some foam. It's day 11 and I've been shopping for more wood. This van just eats wood like nothing else. And my kitchen top, I've cut down the sides, and this should be ready basically to cut a hole in and mark it out. So hopefully it's not going to screw up.
I was listening hours. I just see you blinded by the sunshine.
So trying to get the scratches out of this wood. It's quite deep. I'm just using the scraper thing. But the grain is coming up really nice. It's 12:30 on day 11, and we have lights all coming through the solar controller. Cable's in the way, and stuff looks pretty. It's kind of working. I mean, there's no nothing coming through the solar panel right now because it's nighttime, but that was working earlier this morning, so I just couldn't get any load out, and for some reason there's a short in the heater, so I don't know why that is, but I'll have to check that out. But it's just really exciting to be able to turn on and off a light with a switch. It's cool. Very happy now. So it's day 12. I was really ill yesterday, so I took a day off, but now feeling a little bit better, and just putting in the gas tank. Ratchet strap, good idea from the Van Dog Traveller website. Use that to basically fix it in. Because the LPG got the filler nozzle on the front, which kind of should work quite nicely. Yeah, and I got a regulator and stuff arrived, so I can start putting out the gas pipes, hopefully connecting the most stuff up, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I've got a friend who does, and I'm going to ask him to check it when it's done, because I don't want to blow myself up. I'm just working on this slider screen, which will separate the cab from the main part. We'll kind of like shut it off, and on the back of this I've put the insulated foil, and in the end I'll put some auto carpet on the back of it, so it just looks black in the back of the cab, which should be a bit more subtle. So put this other seat in with a mechanism underneath, which means that this chair can fold down as well. My grey fabric still hasn't arrived, so I can't do the top panels, but I've been sorting out the kind of setup for it, and now we have side lights. These are 3M LED strips, kind of like a warm light colour. The fabric I ordered like 10 days ago has finally arrived. It's a little bit more blue than I thought, but I think that'll probably be better anyway, a little bit of colour. Just put the foam on the boards, and I'm just smoothing it down, and then I'll turn it over and staple it. So end of day 13, and I've got to go to London tomorrow, so I won't get so much done the next few days. So probably basically not have a couple of days off, maybe 3 days off. One other bit of learning has been the solar charge controller. So I just bought one, yeah, got a solar charge controller, that's awesome. But my panel is 300 watt, and essentially, really, with a bit of margin, I need a 40 amp one, and the one I've got is 10 amps, so it doesn't take long for it to get over voltage, and it's charging the batteries, I think, but after a point, it's too much for it, can't handle it. So basically, I've got another one in the post, arriving in a couple of days, but I just have to basically leave the panel unplugged at the moment, just to be safe. So back from London, started to do a bit more work, and day 15, I guess, really, in terms of working on it. I got these IKEA trays, which kind of work quite nicely as like slide out drawers. Also down here I've got this bin, which I'll build in, which should be nice. My new charger controller, the 40 amp version, is in, which is very cool. And I've also plugged in the external monitoring unit, which is useful when I have to lift up the bed to see what's going on. Pissed around my gas stuff, that's basically finished now, I think. Now I just need to make a big drawer. I'm gonna have a big drawer above these, which will come out and have some kind of, hopefully, like some art stuff and some flat stuff in. And the other big bit really to do is just this area. I've ordered a kitchen cabinet. I couldn't find one in, like, I went to like 5 different shops, like DIY home store shops, and none of them had like a small kitchen cabinet, so managed to find that on Amazon. And I need to insulate this because I was living in the van in London for a few days. I really realized how hot the cab gets. It's so hot, and even just the metalwork here above the cab, like doesn't get any direct sunlight, but it gets roasting hot, and obviously the roof does as well, and you can kind of just feel the heat trying to get into the main body of the van through here. And apart from that, I mean, the van's quite cool, but as soon as you realize how much heat's coming through from the cab, just realize I'm going to double down on insulation all around this bulkhead area. Going to put another layer on the slider unit, and I'm just going to go to town with the top of the cab because it just gets so hot inside the cab. And if I can isolate that from the main body of the van, I think even in like a really hot summer's day, I think it'll be okay. So it's either day 15 or 16, I'd have to look at my videos to remember, and basically it's time to sort the cab out. It's been a great tool store, but now I can store my tools in the tray in that big art drawer I made. So it's back to foaming, insulation. I remember how much I love this stuff. I just filled up the ducting as well, so it's kind of just oozing out, but not into my hair this time. Then I'm going to put a layer of foil bubble on it because this thing gets so hot, and above the cab it roasts. So this is really well covered up. And then I've got this mirror unit I'm going to put in the middle, like a bathroom unit, and then going to basically, you can see it's basically snow and foam. Such a beautiful thing. So this is the cupboard unit I made yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it's such a beast. I mean, it's so heavy and cool, but like as you can see inside here, I try to have 4 hinges because I was thinking of having 2 doors on each side. It just doesn't work. You can only have 2. It just kind of really fucks with it. So yeah, I've just got to fix this in. I can start like bolting, like blocking out the sides, but it's nice to see it in place. Kind of starting to look like it's kind of getting close to finish, which is pretty cool. I am making the drawers. I'm using some spare flooring. It's just tedious making drawers. But I've just got to cut out the bases. I've got the sides, backs, fronts all sorted. Cut out the bases, put in the runners, sand it all down, and then put blocks in the corners to glue it together. And yeah, just got to make the base. So much fun. So it's late and I have just put in the drawers. These essential, got these like handles I got from IKEA. The fronts are flooring, which I had spare. And yeah, it's nice to get those in. Boring to make, but quite pleased with the general over effect. Looks kind of swish. I've added this little bin area. The bin just pushes in and kind of wedges. Also, because it's right by the door, I've added a little light, so as you come in, you can very quickly find your way around the van in case you don't have light. I put in the bathroom cabinet and really pleased, it works really well. Got a little magnetic push button just directly over the sink, so ready for having a shave or whatever. Just upholstering the cushions using some staple gun. Way easier than sewing. It's actually the end of another day. I've been too lazy to film today, but I've discovered auto carpet. Oh my god, it's so good. It's kind of just really fills in those gaps and kind of takes all those weird edges, and I can just put something crap behind it, cover it auto carpet, and it looks great. So just got to do that to the ends here. See, that's a bit dodgy. Other than that, I've glued in a nice mat. Lovely. So with this auto carpet, I've just been using a screwdriver and just really shoving it into the corners. That means it's right behind the paneling and should just be secure. This is the panel, and I'm going to put it on the door. Just gluing this panel on. It's got some like pretty bird pictures. I'll do beside the cooker. And basically I'm finished apart from these 2 cupboards. Just got to make some doors. And been putting on auto carpet. It looks really nice. Happy. So basically finished. Cabinets in, like solar monitor, extra USB, another USB in the middle of the bed. Around. Got the drawers, the kitchen, the water tanks. The gas thing works. The water works. Basically I just put some knobs on these cupboards. Got this little bathroom cabinet thing in as well, it's pretty cool. Have some like toiletries or whatever. Yeah, so pretty good. Mostly upholstered, just one cushion, the back cushion to finish. But yeah, fucking sweet. Got this fabric panel. Now I just need to have this thing with a picture of Yosemite, and then we're almost done. Have these side lights, which when it's dark like this it gives a really nice glow, and when you compare it to how bright it is in white with these ceiling lights, suddenly you really realise how nice these sort of side lights, these LEDs are. Now these LEDs actually eat quite a lot of electricity because there's like loads and loads of them, and they're not really super low energy, but the solar panel can handle it, and in comparison we end up with like a really nice feel to the van.